Hello everyone, welcome back to the Perfect Imperfect podcast. It is so good to be back here today. And once again, as always, I'm Pavinash, your host for today. Today, we have someone very special here with us, introducing Dr. Ivan.
Hi, my name is Ivan. I'm from the University of Southampton. Previously, I did my PhD at University of Southampton as well, and I came back to Malaysia. I worked for Southampton, Malaysia for about 5 years, and I have the chance to go back to the UK in University of Southampton. Currently, I teach there, and I also do my research there. At the same time, I also co-founded a company right here in Malaysia. It's called Carbon GPT, where we use AI tools to help companies in producing their ESG and sustainability reports.
Thank you very much for your time today, Dr. Ivan. Could you please, in layman terms, explain what does Carbon GPT mean for the people who are not under the technical backgrounds that can help them understand in a more broader aspect?
Right. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the term ChatGPT, right? The GPT in ChatGPT actually refers to generative pre-trained transformers. So it is actually a sort of like AI model that we call large language models. So conversational AI that allows the AI to understand language and understand words with meanings. So what we're doing is the word carbon here refers to, again, sustainability, carbon dioxide, carbon emissions. So we're trying to put these two together, right? So Carbon GPT is a company that we started that uses GPTs, uses large language model to analyze data to help accelerate carbon reporting, essentially.
I see. Okay. So we'll proceed with some questions that we would like to know more.
Sure.
So in terms of Carbon GPT, what gaps did you see in the sustainability space that made you realize that there was a need for this Carbon GPT application or assessment?
Right. So just to jump back a little bit, why do we need to do this carbon emissions report, right, and sustainability report? Because if you think about it, back in the days when you're trying to build an industry, everyone is just building. But as you're building more factory, you're cutting down more trees, right?
Correct.
And as you are producing more goods, you're also releasing more carbon into the atmosphere.
Yes.
Now, there's no economic incentive for someone, let's say someone from Sarawak, right, where there's a lot of trees. There's no economic incentive for them to keep the trees because you make more money by cutting down trees and producing more goods.
Yes, correct.
So the whole idea behind this carbon neutrality is that if you're producing carbon, all right, you should find a way to reduce or absorb the carbon,
Yes.
right? So the people who are actually keeping the trees, absorbing the carbon from the atmosphere, they should get some sort of benefits as well. But before we can even get that far, right, in the Malaysian economy, we need to find a way to properly assess and calculate how much carbon the businesses emit first. Okay. Now, this is a very challenging task. If you think about it, how much carbon are we emitting just by recording this podcast, right? Or how much carbon has been emitted to produce this nice shirt you're wearing? As it's a very complicated process. Sure, you can work it out by hand, right? Yes. A human can sit down, a consultant can sit down and work, but it's just too much work.
Too tedious.
Yeah. So this is where the AI parts come in, right? So we are essentially creating a system with AI in the mix that automate the whole process. If you're producing a shirt, it tracks down all the accounting bits. What is needed, what are the raw materials needed to produce your shirt, how much electricity you consume to produce this shirt, and how much shirt you produce per month. And from there, I can tell you this shirt approximately how much carbon is being emitted. That's the whole idea.
All right, so we understand, like, as you explained earlier, but could you, like, once again go about how did you come up with the name Carbon GPT? Because when the first time I heard it, I thought it was something related to ChatGPT.
Yeah, well, it's loosely related in a sense that the technology, the core technology behind the scenes, the large language model is the same as ChatGPT, right? So OpenAI uses GPT-4 to power ChatGPT.
Yes.
We also use different various GPTs, including OpenAI's model. We also use Gemini's model and various other open source model to power our app. Now, the main reason we call it Carbon GPT is simple. My co-founder Matthew and I, we sat down one day when we were thinking about the name, and we thought, what exactly are we doing? We're using AI to solve a sustainability problem, right? ESG problem. So on the ESG side, carbon, okay? Simple, plain and simple. You see the word carbon, everyone knows what's going on. And then on the AI side, if you call carbon AI, doesn't have a nice ring to it. So we went for Carbon GPT instead. Yeah.
Right. So, what industries do you think can benefit most from tools like Carbon GPT in the next coming 5 years?
Right. Our current clientele are usually the public listed companies because in Malaysia, it is compulsory for a public listed company of a certain size to actually produce this sustainability report, right? But at the same time, we are industry agnostic because we see that every industry, right, produces carbon emission in some sense. So the goal is to not just look at the public listed big companies, but eventually make it so that every SME, every mom and pop business in Malaysia is able to track their own carbon emissions. That's our main goal. And I think at the end of the day, the people who actually gain the most from this, right, is the people of the country, right? Malaysians in general. Because if you think about it, if you track the carbon and you're reducing the carbon, you're also reducing emissions, pollutions. You're reducing the climate risk as well. So overall, I would say government and the people of a country is the one that will benefit the most.
I think this is very important as well since as we are learning towards the engineering aspect or the development aspect, we are trained to focus more on the sustainable development goals, which also consider one of them as the environmental impact and how do we reduce the pollutions or control these pollutions, because there are some pollutions that you can't really eliminate entirely. It's more like we need to control them. So I think this is a very good analysis model or an application tool that can help the upcoming businesses as well. So okay, as a lecturer and a founder, how do you balance academic life and technical entrepreneurship?
Okay. Oh, this is the hard part. I would say it's all down to time management. And for me, because again, I work in the UK, so the sacrifice I have to make is having to wake up earlier, right? Waking up earlier, that would mean around, say, 6, 7 a.m. in the UK time. That would translate to like working time in Malaysia, right? So I wake up, I'll schedule all my meetings around those times. And then around 9, 10-ish, that is where I work as a lecturer in the university. So I'll go over to my office and work. But around that time as well, it would have been about 4, 5 p.m. in the Malaysia time, right? So it works just nice. So I finish my work, and then when I get back home, I'll then check my emails for the entrepreneurship bit. Admittedly, it's not the most sustainable way of living. It's very tiring, but what I tell myself is, I'm young, right? I have time. I want to use this time to build up my career and to learn as much as I can, right? And eventually, you know, as time goes by, I would have to make a choice, right? Whether to stay in academia or to go on a business. But either way, right, I would have learned all that I want in this short amount of time.
I feel that's very inspiring because since you're balancing both, and of course it has to be like a give and a take model, but it's really inspiring actually. Okay, so what were some of the biggest obstacles you faced when building or when gathering the resources to build Carbon GPT, and how did you overcome them?
I think one of the largest obstacle that we have to cross is actually just funding, right? I'm sure this is something that a lot of the students who wanted to go with your own startup, you will realize, hey, it's one thing building a prototype and one thing getting it to work, but it's another business entirely to start a company,
Yeah,
right? Especially when you don't have much experience with accounting and stuff like that. So we are considered lucky because we started the company in Malaysia, all right, and we benefit, as Malaysians, actually we benefit from a lot of grants and supports that the Malaysian government has given us. So part of my journey, I think it began with Cradle Fund, okay, so shout out to Cradle Fund. We have to really thank Cradle Fund for kicking start the whole process. We built a proof of concept and we went to Cradle Fund to pitch to them, all right. And during the pitching session, it was quite challenging. They asked a lot of really technical questions. And initially, when we built our first version, it was a chat-based interface, right? You talk to it pretty much like ChatGPT, but for sustainability. And the people in Cradle gave us a lot of good feedback that kind of like changed our app from a pure, mainly chat-based, asking about your own company's emission, into a full-stack ESG app, right? They gave us a lot of suggestions, and we got grant funded from Cradle, and that gave us about 1 year of runway, okay? So in a startup term, we always look at this runway because you need to keep track how long you have before your company run out of money. So we took this money, and then we kind of like hired our first few employees, okay? And our first few employees are the one that really start to get the ball rolling. We started building from the POC, the proof of concept, into a full-fledged working MVP, minimum viable product. So the MVP is essentially a product that we can sell already, all right? So it's market ready. We have our first 2 customers who are listed companies as well. They got on board and they start using. Admittedly, at that time, the product was not perfect yet. But the good thing about having those few first customers is that they give a lot of good feedback. All right, they use it and they say, okay, we love this feature, we don't like this feature. Can I have a button there that does this? And then we go back to the team, we sit down, and then we do. So eventually, I think that's where we got started. And then eventually, we get more and more customers, and we applied for another grant under MDEC. Okay, I think MDEC is a name that a lot of people would be very familiar with. Very familiar. So we pitched this use case to MDEC, saying that this is something that could be very helpful to the Malaysian share market. All right. So from that grant, we tried to apply for a global testbed grant with Bursa Malaysia. So we went to them and said, okay, we are trying to apply for this grant, and then this is the solution that we have, which would actually solve a lot of the listed companies' problem, because the Malaysian government wanted to push this initiative to get companies to produce their sustainability report. But it's very hard to produce, all right? And then the market was actually still quite new. So we went in and said, hey, can we partner up with you and provide the tools to help the consultants and help the sustainability department to make it easier for them to produce this report? So think about this. If the consultants spend less time in producing the report, it will make the whole sustainability industry more sustainable, right? So that's our goal. We try to simplify sustainability. So we go to them and say, hey, this is a product that you can use. So this is where we are right now. We are working with them. We're working with public listed companies and try to sell our tools to help them make it easier to produce report.
That's really amazing. So this application, Carbon GPT, is it an open source application or?
No, actually it's not open source. We do use some open source models, and we do use some paid models as well. So we see ourselves as like an integrator, right? So some people ask me, like, what's the difference between you guys and ChatGPT? All right. Can I write a report just by using ChatGPT? Short answer is maybe you can, okay? But you will need to have
A lot
consultant
of,
knowledge.
yeah, a lot of documents explaining what is actually being done before it can actually write out a report.
Yes, correct. You need to first, you yourself need to understand
Understand what's going on.
what's going on first. Okay, then you put it inside. You need to craft your prompt in such a way that ChatGPT understands. Now, the other problem with using ChatGPT is hallucination. So, Gemini or ChatGPT, you ask it to write something, it will sometimes hallucinate, right? So, what we come up with is a framework of system. So, you get a prompt, comes in, the generated output doesn't go straight into the report. It goes through a few layers of our own system to check and fact check. All right.
I see.
So this, it doesn't, I wouldn't say, it reduces 100%, all right, because our team is still constantly testing it and checking it. But the chances of hallucination is very, very, very
Minimum.
low. Yeah, very minimal, to a point where you can really just click and let it generate the entire report. And all you need is one person to do one final proofread and check
finalizing it.
that. Yeah, for finalizing. Yeah.
Is it openly accessible or is it like paid app?
Currently, it is paid, but we do have a very generous free tier. So for students like yourself, if you really want to like explore the platform, feel free to go to our website and just sign up. The free tier allows you to, I think, track one single facility. Right? By one facility, I mean, let's say your faculty. This is considered one department, one facility. You can track this for free.
I see. Okay, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so who or what inspires you to keep pushing forward when the road gets tough, Dr. Ivan?
Oh, wow. This is a very difficult question, I think. When the world gets tough, who actually inspires me to push forward? Yeah. I think I'm quite inspired by stories of different founders, right? Different founders. So I read through Steve Jobs' biography. I see how he has felt and how he pivoted, and he's managed to push forward and get a product, Apple, right, on the table. So I find his kind of like biography quite inspiring. But I am also equally inspired by Richard Feynman. So Richard Feynman has been like a hero of mine, I think, since I entered academia. And I think what I learned from him is that no matter how tough things get, right, always find something fun to do in it. Yeah. So he's always the guy who likes to play practical joke, and people think of him like a little boy in the lab. So I kind of like took inspiration from this too. Steve Jobs, yes, I like his passion and everything, but what I didn't really like is maybe his management style. Right? He tends to like push his employee really hard and that sort of thing. But what I like is the way he pivoted and find new ideas when things doesn't work. Now on Richard Feynman's side, he inspired me to look at everything. Yes, everything is serious, but find the fun in everything. Everything. So I took that inspiration, and then in our own company, sometimes in a meeting we'll crack jokes, and sometimes we'll have our own internal hackathons as well to build things that are kind of like, I wouldn't say completely useless, but not totally related to the company. Just for fun. Just for fun. Right? Just for fun, because it's important to find fun in everything.
It's important to sidetrack just a bit so you can get a clear vision of what actually you're trying to achieve and what you're actually trying to do. I think it goes for everyone also. If we are putting 100% of our efforts in a project, we tend to get overwhelmed easily. So it's very important to do something aside from it, just to get back on track.
Yeah.
And since, as you mentioned before, you are a lecturer and an entrepreneur, how do you manage burnout or balance ambition with rest?
I would say first you have to learn how to say no. Okay, when you look at a certain thing, you kind of like, okay, should I go ahead with this project or no? If I do go ahead, what's the ROI? Is it worth the time? Right? And you just have to learn to manage that, and you have to learn to not chase every single opportunity, right? So it's like if you see opportunities everywhere and you start chasing this halfway and then you start switching to the next one,
software.
you will not get anywhere.
Yeah.
This is where I realized with Carbon GPT, yes, with the AI, before I jumped straight into Carbon GPT, we were actually exploring AI as a tool, AI for customer service. We can do that. Our team actually has the capability, but if you were to jump everywhere,
Yeah.
we're getting nowhere.
You're getting
right?
nowhere,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's one thing. And personally, I find it's very important to keep a disciplined timetable for yourself. So for me, after work is gym time. Okay. So there's something urgent going on. Yes, it's urgent, but if it's not urgent to the minute, to the hour, right? I'll still go to the gym and then wash myself, get dinner, and then when I have time, I'll sit down and look at it. All right.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So, as an entrepreneur or as a lecturer, do you think that Carbon GPT has been something that you've always wanted to build or achieve somewhere one day?
I've always wanted to create my own company, actually. So
Okay.
yeah, fun fact. I think sidetrack a bit. So my co-founder and I, we became good friends after the Axiata CEO program. So Axiata has this young CEO development program. So during that time, we were trained on how to do management, how to manage businesses, how to manage projects, and we were given this sort of like startup fund to even start our own little startup. And obviously, we started the startup just for the sake of finishing the project and submitting the homework, and then we stopped. But we were thinking to ourselves, we have all these skills that we've learned, right? And we are not applying it in our real life. So we thought to ourselves, why not start something? And in fact, a lot of people in our training cohort that time, our classmates in that program, they went out and start their own things, right? They start their own things, and we were very inspired by them. So we thought, well, let's give it a try. We're both still very young at that time. We don't have kids yet. So we thought, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, well, we close shop. I continue teaching, and Matt continues his work as a consultant, and we call it a day, right? So that's one of the things that kind of like kick-started the whole thing up. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so what motivated you to pursue an academic career in the first place? Was it something you've always wanted? Because it's quite seldom or quite not often you see someone who is under the lecturer or academic role at the same time doing full business entrepreneurship.
I see. Well, to be fair, I would challenge that statement because actually in the UK, a lot of the professors that I know of, they also have their own spin-out companies, right, and startups. So I think it's something that in Malaysia is starting to become more and more common as well. Yeah, there's a few reasons why we want to do this and why we want to encourage entrepreneurship among lecturers. So first things first, it's the experience, right? So if you're in academia for a very long time and you're focusing just on teaching fundamental theories and all those things, you might start to lose touch with the industry.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you own your own company, right, you are forced to upgrade yourself. You're forced to keep up with the trends, the industrial trends, and the technology. And that fits back into your teaching as well. Yeah. And in my case, because I teach programming, right? I teach programming, and at the same time, in my company, I manage a team of programmers. Right. So I can tell the students, hey, look, right, this way of writing code is not right. Okay, if you write your code this way, you can understand, yes, it's very efficient, but what happens if your teammates are trying to help you? What happens if there's something break? How can you debug it? The whole thing will crash. And you want to train the students since they're studying to think like they're working in the industry. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of being a lecturer, what would you say is the most fulfilling moment you've experienced?
Oh, wow. I think one of the most fulfilling moments is actually seeing your own students succeed. Right?
Yes.
I think a few of my students have already graduated, and Some of them even went on to take PhD of their own.
That's
All right.
wonderful.
And then a few of my students were also in the UK. They joined a different university in the UK, and some of them are now also lecturers.
Right.
Also lecturers, and we talk, and when we discuss collaboration. And what really made me feel fulfilled is when I'm talking to them, they are no longer my students. They are my peers, right? They are at the same level, and they are collaborators. So I think, yeah, that's very, very fulfilling.
I see. So, Dr. Ivan, is there
Yeah.
a piece of advice you've always find yourself giving to students? Something to get them back on their feet or keep them pushing forward?
I would say a very cheesy one, right? To never give up, right? But at the same time, remember when you're young, you have all the energy that you need, right? Don't waste your youthfulness, right? In your youth, channel that energy to build the future that you want, right? If it makes sense. So when you're in university, back when I was in university as well, any sort of activities, any sort of things that I can do, I do it. I volunteer. I do it, even though there's no pay. Never mind, like you guys, right? Running a student club, you don't get paid. Why are you spending all this time? Because it's training your skills.
Yeah.
Right. So push for that. And as young professionals, if you just graduated, try to not be too picky about the work that's given to you. Some of them graduated, it's like, oh, this is not my job. I don't want to do. But when you're young and you can do it, do it. Because when you're doing it, you're learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And eventually, when you hit a management position, yes, that's where you have to learn to let go and learn to trust the younger generation and let them do the work.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. So, one final question, Dr. Ivan. What is the last piece of advice you would like to give to the viewers and listeners today?
Viewers and listeners today, I would say, right, find the fun in everything. All right. So for everything that you do, find out what's the most interesting bit. Even though it may be the most boring job in the world, right? Try to find the fun in it, because if you can do that, then a job is not a job. It's kind of like a hobby for you, and you'll feel happy and fulfilled for your life.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is all from us today, guys. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.